So I'm a curator at Cooper-Hewitt Smithsonian Design Museum in New York City. Come visit. A museum curator. Do you know any museum curators? Do you hang out with I didn't think so, and you know why? We are very single-minded, and we are obsessed with one thing: eyeballs. Museum curators love eyeballs. And our favorite slogan, as you probably know, is "do not touch." So you go to a museum, and you look, and you look, and you look, until you're so tired you want to shut your eyeballs and go to sleep. Don't you get exhausted at museums? You just can't wait to get to the gift shop and the cafe. I get tired at museums. And so recently I started to think, what if we made an exhibition that wasn't just about eyeballs? What if we had an exhibition where you could touch and taste and smell and listen to the stuff in the galleries? Right now, you're sitting in a chair. You hardly know this chair, but this chair is touching you in a very intimate way. It's not even running for president. It's just a chair. So I'm working on a new exhibition. It's called Design for the Senses. Send me ideas. I'm on a listening tour and a scratching tour and a touching tour to find out what designers are doing to go beyond the eyeball. The things that we use, the places that we inhabit, embrace our whole body. They show us where to go. They give us information, not just through the eyeballs. Why does that matter? When designers start to activate multiple senses, we create a world that's more interesting for everyone and more accessible to everyone. So I want to show you some projects. Tactile City is a project created by faculty and students at the Cooper Union in New York. And the idea is to create sidewalks that are accessible to people with blindness and low vision. So there's a tactile stripe that runs down the middle of the sidewalk. And as someone is communicating with that stripe with their walking stick, patterned tiles indicate trash cans, street signs, bus stops, entrances to buildings. And when a construction barrier appears, there's a textured mat that alerts you before you get to the barrier that there's a barrier, and a sound-emitting beacon that tells you to move, to turn, and then, if necessary, a ramp that brings a pedestrian down to the street level, and tactile barriers, a tactile banister with information in Braille to give more information about this obstruction and what to expect from it. Sometimes I have trouble crossing the street because I'm always looking at my phone. And if you think about crosswalks, they're designed for people that are looking straight ahead, but lots of people aren't. So a design company in Melbourne, Australia, created this amazing proposal that adds lights to the tactile paving at the crosswalk and that leads people safely across the street, even if they're not looking where they're going. This is the Bradley E1 timepiece. It's called a timepiece, not a watch, because it's entirely tactile. So you can tell the time without looking at your watch. It's an amazing piece of engineering and design. It uses 2 ball bearings that travel around the watch and give you the hour and the minute hand. And it's named for Bradley Snyder, who's a Paralympic athlete and war veteran who lives in Baltimore, a great hero. This is tactile kitchenware designed to make kitchen activities safer and more pleasurable for people with low vision. So the cup has an indent, which gives you a signal to where to hold the cup. And when you pour liquid into the cup, you can feel the temperature of the material change, and then you're less likely to pour too much. Beautiful tactile feedback. This is a cutting board with grooves that guides the hand while you're cutting, and the high contrast black and white graphics are accessible to people with low vision. And they look great. Black and white always looks great. Everything we eat has texture. What if your spoon had its own texture? These amazing experimental pieces stimulate your tongue and your palate with textures that are smooth or bumpy or rough to amplify the feeling and taste of what's in your mouth. Texture affects taste, it also affects sound. This is a desktop speaker that has removable inserts. Each insert has a different texture and material that actually changes the sound that comes out of the speaker, making it warmer or wider or crisper or softer. Musicians talk about color as the unique tone or texture of music. I'm going to play you a short piece by the composer Michelle Qureshi, where she's applied a filter to a short phrase of music to suggest different architectural settings for that music. This room has a unique sound. The cafe next door has a different sound. So I want you to experience this music and imagine the spaces that this phrase is playing in. Different architectures of sound. This is a project by one of my graduate students at MICA, Ron Zhang. She created a system for visualizing sound. She took the loudness and the frequency of sound and cued that to size and sharpness of the shape. So the sharper the sound, the pointier the shape. And it results in these beautiful pictorial abstract portraits of a place. All sound is vibration. The vibrations at the lower level, or the bass notes in sound or music, you can actually feel as vibration against your skin. At a concert, a subwoofer amplifies that effect, and that's why that loud music, you actually feel it against your heart, against your chest. It isn't just our ears, it's our whole body experiencing that music. This is a beautiful, simple speaker that the artist created to translate the sound of music into vibrations felt against the skin. And the last piece I want to show you is an amazing working prototype created by a young designer in Israel. And it's a piece of jewelry-like equipment that translates a much wider frequency of sound into vibrations that can be felt against the skin. So it's a way for people who are deaf or have hearing impairments to experience music in a really unique way as a tactile engagement with the skin. And what she's created here is a wonderful social experience where these two people are sharing the music together, listening to the music together, but not with their ears, with their bodies. So designers are doing so much to activate our senses, to go beyond the empire of the eyeball and communicate to people on multiple levels, making the world more interesting and more inclusive. And I think museums should be that way too. I think they should be noisier and scratchier and stinkier and just more engaging of our whole self. So I'm going to end with this very short piece by Michelle Qureshi called Museum in the Dark. Thank you very much. Come see us at Cooper-Hewitt.